Hello, BookTube. I have a guest, as you can see. I also have Frida, as per Caleb's command, as me in videos. I'm joined by Peg.
Hello.
Came up with her husband. We went to the book rack in Arlington.
I have a picture of us in front of the book rack.
Isn't that awesome? And I don't ever... It's a used bookstore in Arlington, Mass., and I don't ever get there. So since I was there, and since I had a car, I indulged myself. I don't know if I'll be back. And I wanted to show you what I got. Now, I'm going to warn you ahead of time. There's about 30 books here, and about 25 of them are the exact same kind of thing. So I will get to that at the end. I'll show you the variety first. So the first thing is a graphic novel. This is the Chronicles of Conan, Volume 2. This is the old 1970s Conan done by Roy Thomas with art by Barry Windsor Smith. Those of you who are comics fans will know that when he was doing Conan, Conan had a hippie hairdo. If we can find an example. But Conan, he didn't look anything like the Conan that you recognize. He had long, flowing, gorgeous hair. And that was because at the time that he drew it, Barry Windsor Smith also had long, flowing, gorgeous hair. And this has its adaptations. Roy Thomas was a big Conan fan, just loved the stories, and therefore his adaptations of them are just fantastic. And this one has an adaptation of the great story Rogues in the House, which I saw it, I had to have it, even though I'm also a big fan of the next round of Conan adaptations for Dark Horse by Kurt Busiek and Carrie Nord. Those are also great, and their version of Rogues in the House is also great, but was never going to see this again, so I grabbed it at the book rack. And then I found a bunch of penguins for the wall behind me there. The first is a Penguin Classic Deluxe Edition that I somehow don't have, of The Prince. Look at that. This is Machiavelli's book.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I almost missed it myself. It's translated by Tim Parks, and I have the Black Spine Penguin Classic of The Prince. It's not the Tim Parks translation. It's not this nice. This is Penguin Classic Deluxe Editions are always good, and I love rereading The Prince from time to time. And then a novel by Nathaniel Hawthorne that I've mentioned on this channel before. I don't think it's rated high enough. The Marble Fawn, which includes it takes place in Italy, and it turns around a disastrously passionate love affair that turns murderous. And there used to be package tourism events to go to all the various locations in this book. That's how famous it was. And now you mention it. If you mention just the title, The Marble Fawn, even in a lot of English majors won't be able to associate it with Nathaniel Hawthorne. So, and I don't have a Penguin Classic Black Spine paperback.
How does that compare with House of Seven Gables we were talking about earlier?
It's not as good.
Not as good?
So I don't think anything is. Okay. But it's really good for Hawthorne. He's a very buttoned-up author. He usually doesn't allow himself to indulge in page after page after page of searing passion. And in this book he does, very much so. And then the other day I did a For the Love of Classics tag. And when it came time for me to say a classic author I didn't like, I mentioned that it was Elizabeth Gaskell, and the emails just started coming and have not stopped from all the Elizabeth Gaskell fans out there saying, oh no, our girl is wonderful, she's better than anybody. And I said, the next time I saw some Elizabeth Gaskell in Penguin paperbacks, I would get them and put them on the roster to reread. And I found two. I found a famous one, North and South, with the requisite boring Penguin cover, and then Ruth, which I don't think is an Elizabeth Gaskell I've ever read. So I'm good as my word, I will give it a try. And then I found a Trollope. This is the Eustace Diamonds, which is part of the Palliser series, so that if we actually do read-alongs of all the Palliser Trollope novels, this will be one of them. And it's a hoot of a book. It is, in terms of sheer reading page-by-page entertainment, it's more entertaining than any of the other Palliser novels, and almost any of the other novels Trollope ever wrote. So I grabbed it right away.
That's one of the fourth or fifth in the series.
Yeah, it's late in the series. And it has almost nothing to do with Pallisers. They're almost not involved at all. It's mostly about Lizzie Eustace and her precious diamonds. And this has a little bit of wrinkling on the corner or whatnot. And it wouldn't have that if I paid $15 for it at Book Depository and just had it shipped to me, but it was right there, and that's the fun of used bookstores.
Okay. I'm on my knees, and you're right. They're getting a little sore, so I'm going to bow out, and you go ahead and show all the ones that you really want to show. I know are over there. Okay, bye guys.
The batch of things that I got next is was pure self-indulgence. It's a kind of writing that I love. You all know it. I've mentioned it many times. And the book rack in Arlington, I knew still was a place that had a lot of these kinds of books. So I figured since I'm never going to get there again, I got pretty much all the ones they had. And that's Regency romances. I got Regency romances. Only I got a large number of them. I got all the ones they had. So 24 of them. So enough to keep me in. These are all Regencies that I haven't read. So I'll just indulge myself. Whenever I need a Regency, I will go from this batch until it's all done, and then they will go on the shelves with all the other Regency romances. So I got Conan. I got a bunch of Penguin classics. And then I got a stack of these Regency. I can't put the whole thing up here, but I got a stack of Regency romances that I have a bottomless appetite for them. They're so good. And that's it. That was my trip to the book rack with Peg.
And Todd.
And Todd, yes, her husband, who did the chauffeuring job. And we drove all the way back here to see little Frida. It was fine. Yeah. Wasn't she?
And Frida liked me.
Frida's a good girl. She wasn't happy being left alone, but nothing went wrong because of it, so that was great. But that's it. That's all for now. I'll be back many times today, so I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.